President Sarkozy to London once again. He is a great leader, a good friend to this country, and also a good friend to me personally. We've had some very good discussions today. On Europe, we've agreed on the need for the EU to exercise real responsibility over its budget in future years. On the G20, we look forward to the summit in Seoul and discuss Nicola's priorities for his own G20 presidency next year, which I have no doubt will be a great success and an energetic success as well. On the vital issue of immigration, we agreed on measures to strengthen the excellent cooperation that we already enjoy on tackling illegal immigration. And we've discussed England's 2018 World Cup bid, which I passionately believe is the strongest bid. But the most important issue that we have discussed today is our future cooperation on defence and security. And that is what I want to focus my remarks on this afternoon. The events of the last 72 hours have reminded us that our societies and our security have never been more connected. And when the threats from terrorism, from cyberspace and from nuclear proliferation cross our borders, so must our response. That means closer cooperation with our allies across the board. Our development experts should work hand in hand in countries like Yemen. Our transport security specialists should share information to detect and disrupt explosives making their way through airports. The terrorists, they think that our open societies and our interconnectedness is a source of weakness. They are wrong. Nicola and I are absolutely determined to show that they are a source of our strength, our solidarity and our power in defeating terrorism. And so today we open a new chapter in a long history of cooperation on defence and security between Britain and France. We have signed two treaties, one committing our world-class armed forces to work together more closely than ever before, and another covering cooperation on nuclear safety. The result will make our citizens safer, more secure, and better protected in the global age of uncertainty in which we now live. This will also help us to maintain and strengthen our defences at a time when national finances are severely challenged. I want first of all to deal with some myths. This is not, as some have suggested, about weakening or pooling British or French sovereignty. This is not about a European army. This is not about sharing our nuclear deterrence. Let me say this plainly. Britain and France are and will always remain sovereign nations, able to deploy our armed forces independently and in our national interests when we choose to do so. But we should also remember that the only times British forces have been deployed alone in the last 30 years was in Sierra Leone and in the Falklands. The vast bulk of our military operations, Bosnia, Kosovo, Afghanistan, amongst others, have been conducted together with our allies. So let me tell you what the UK-France Defence Treaty is about. It is about defending our national interest. It is about practical, hard-headed cooperation between two sovereign countries. It is about sharing development and equipment costs, eliminating unnecessary duplication, coordinating logistics, and aligning our research programmes. If we do all of these things, then we can expand our sovereign capability, even at a time when resources are tight. Britain and France are natural partners, the third and the fourth largest defence spenders in the world, both with nuclear responsibilities and both with permanent seats on the United Nations Security Council. We both have a willingness and the capability to play our part in world affairs. President Sarkozy has shown leadership by bringing France back into the heart of NATO, and I applaud him for that. And that is another reason why France is a logical, sensible and practical partner for Britain on defence. You can read for yourself in the declaration we've issued today the detail of what we're agreeing. This is the start of something new, not an end in itself. But let me highlight a couple of specific points. First, we will create a joint expeditionary task force, troops who will train and exercise together, making it easier for us to deploy quickly, together on operations if we wish to do so, while also retaining the ability to deploy separately. Second, we will cooperate on aircraft carriers. The last government ordered carriers that would be unable to work effectively with either of our key defence partners, France or the United States. This was madness. As a result of the decisions we have taken, We will adapt our new carrier capability so we're able to operate with France and the United States. And as our new carrier comes into service towards the end of this decade, we will develop the ability to deploy a UK-French integrated carrier strike group, ensuring that either a British or a French carrier is always available for operations. Third, we will work together on equipment and capabilities. We are both procuring the A400M military transport aircraft and will integrate our logistical support for that aircraft. We will work together on the next generation of unmanned aerial vehicles. We will work together on technology for cyber security. And fourth, while we will always retain an independent nuclear deterrent, it is right that we look for efficiencies in the infrastructure required to develop and sustain our separate deterrents. So rather than both countries building identical and expensive facilities to ensure the safety of our nuclear weapons, we will build together a joint facility, jointly owned and jointly managed, sharing our knowledge and expertise and saving millions of pounds. Britain and France have a shared history through 2 world wars. Our brave troops are fighting together every day in Afghanistan. But let me finish by saying this is a treaty based on pragmatism, not just sentiment. And I would like to thank Nicola for joining me in taking these bold and important steps, which I believe will make our sovereign nations safer. Thank you, Nicola.
Merci, David. À mon tour de dire combien la délégation française et moi-même sommes heureux d'être les invités de nos amis anglais.
Are happy to be the hosts of our British friends today, the guests of our British friends, and that we intend to work hand in glove with you. And we admire your courage, David, your vision, and that of your government. We now have all the conditions to build an exceptional relationship between Britain and France. 2 permanent members of the Security Council, 2 nuclear powers, 2 defense industries that are up there with the best, and British and French together represent half of Europe's defense budget. Now, this mutual trust and cooperation is self-evident, and we have decided to launch nuclear military cooperation between our 2 countries. This is a decision which is unprecedented, and it shows a level of trust and confidence between our 2 nations that is unequaled in history. We are going to be sharing a simulation modeling installation in France linked to our nuclear deterrence and an associated centre in Britain. We have signed a defense treaty which was going to enable us to implement a combined joint expeditionary force which will be in a position to undertake high-intensity operations in cases of crisis. And I thank David Cameron for having agreed to put catapults and arresting gear on British aircraft carrier, because this is going to enable us to have a truly integrated aircraft carrier group. It's a very important decision that our British friends have taken there. Now, on the unmanned air systems, apart from the small tactical air systems, there's no such thing as a European unmanned air system, and we're going to have, in the next 10 years, a surveillance unmanned air system. We're further going to boost Franco-British missile construction with joint missile construction. We're going to develop cyber defense, and there's going to be a long list which is going to lead to new interdependence, and I say this very clearly in full respect of our individual sovereignty. You know, ladies and gentlemen, that in France, sovereignty is as touchy an issue as it is in Britain. But together we will be stronger.
Following what President Sarkozy, through the interpreter, is saying there on this military cooperation deal with the United Kingdom. On Sky News Active, press the red button on your handset. That'll take you there. We're taking a short break. When we come back, more from President Sarkozy, then questions from journalists.